Now to get our evening officially underway, would you please welcome the Dean of the Robinson College of Business, Richard Phillips. Dean Phillips.
Good evening. Thank you, Scott, for that introduction and for serving as our MC once again. This is the fifth year that Scott has presided over the Hall of Fame celebration, which we appreciate all the more since we know you'll be broadcasting tomorrow morning at 4:30 a.m. Tonight it is my great privilege to be the seventh Dean of the J. Mac Robinson College of Business and to welcome each of you to the 30th Annual Business Hall of Fame. We're honored to have Mayor Kasim Reed, who is supposed to be here this evening. I'm not sure if he's shown up yet. Is he here? Mayor Reed, are you here? I think he's probably stuck in famous Buckhead traffic. We'll have that worked out soon. On an occasion like tonight, I would expect to give remarks honoring the long-term accomplishments of two remarkable executives, and we'll do that this evening. But first, at this time, I'd be remiss if I did not also highlight the example that Mr. Kent and Ms. Gale demonstrate as leaders of organizations responding to the crisis of the moment. It was just 2 days ago that President Obama came to Atlanta, where he met with Mayor Reed, and then headed to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention to announce that the U.S. is sending 3,000 military personnel to West Africa to help contain the spread of Ebola. Coca-Cola and CARE operate around the world, both focusing the work of both in Africa, and each has responded to the threat of Ebola above the scope of their core responsibilities. For example, the Coca-Cola Foundation recently committed $200,000 towards initiatives to stem the spread of the disease and support local healthcare workers. The company also responded when much-needed supplies were requested through MedShare, ensuring that an air shipment of personal protective equipment was quickly dispatched to hospitals in the worst affected countries. For its part, CARE built on its relationships in communities across hard-hit Sierra Leone and Liberia to help educate the public on reducing the transmission risk. And Helene has been taking to the airwaves to discuss the devastating costs that Ebola is having on fragile West African economies, which may result in far greater global impact than mortality from the disease. Robinson and Georgia State are also engaged in addressing pressing issues in Africa and elsewhere. For example, Georgia State has one of only two BSL-4 labs that exist between Texas and Washington, D.C. BSL stands for a biosafety level, and a BSL Level 4 lab has the highest biocontainment precautions necessary to study the most exotic viral and bacterial agents known to man. In fact, the only other lab in this region of the country that is a BSL-4 lab is the CDC itself. The Georgia State laboratories study viruses known as alpha herpes viruses that affect the central nervous system of the infected hosts. Although not directly related to Ebola, which attacks the human immune system, the work done here at Georgia State is relevant to understand the underlying relationship between viruses and the human cell. Likewise, at Robinson, we are dedicated to preparing graduates who lead organizations in the global society, who have requisite skills to successfully manage fast-changing, complex, and interconnected environments, including those in crisis. No doubt, Robinson graduates right now at Coca-Cola, at CARE, and elsewhere are helping to manage the Ebola crisis. So tonight, Robinson honors two accomplished executives who are leading two important organizations in our country. And we do so recognizing both their long-term achievements while also honoring their short-term commitments to our global society. Muhtar, Helene, thank you for all that you do. Before turning the microphone back over to Scott, I'd like to recognize the Robinson Board of Advisors, some of whom are here tonight, for their support of this great event. And I'd also like to ask past Hall of Fame inductees who are here this evening to please rise so that you can be acknowledged for your support. Thank you. And I'd like to thank all of you for being here this evening for what promises to be a great evening. Thank you very much. Scott, it's all yours.
Thanks very much.